Hey everyone, welcome to the Sky This Month for September of 2025. Now, right off the bat, I want to give two apologies here. Firstly, I'm recording this on the night of September 10th. That is a Thursday night, one day before our meeting. And yesterday and today I came down with a cold and quite the persistent cough, so I'm quite stuffed up and nasally right now. And so I apologize if my voice doesn't sound all too great and if there's any jumpy pauses in the recording. That's just me momentarily stopping it because I have to let out a nasty cough. So my apologies for that. And also apologies to the members who submitted photos. Usually I like to share all the photos that I get each month, and I like to read out the descriptions that are given to me because you guys love sending me nice, long, colorful, descriptive comments with your photos, which I really love to see and I really appreciate. But I've got quite a few photos to share this month, so I have to cut down the time and keep it reasonable. So I'm just going to give a brief description from each of your photos. And I did have to cut out a few photos from one particular member, which I will share next month. Again, just to keep the time down. So welcome back everyone to our September monthly meeting. I hope you had a great summer and I hope you enjoyed a lot of the clear skies that we got the last couple months. At least I got quite a few clear skies. I did a lot of hiking and a lot of trekking and a lot of traveling this summer. I was out of the province quite a bit and certainly out of town quite a bit, and it seemed that every weekend where I'd go on a long, long hike or climbing some mountains somewhere, that the clear skies with nice, crisp, dark, transparent skies and nice seeing and great visibility would follow me wherever I would go without my telescope. And when I was back home, the few weekends when I was here with my telescope and with all of my equipment, the skies were not so great. So, not too much telescopic observing from me, unfortunately. A lot of binocular observing, a few photos taken, but I hope you all got out and enjoyed what you could. Hope you saw some meteors during the Perseid week, and I hope our members are looking forward to our dark sky party, which is next weekend. And so again, welcome back to reality. Welcome back to our monthly meetings for the rest of this year. And here is our September sky this month. So as always, we're going to start off with the members gallery, images that were submitted to me by all of you to share during my talk. So first off the bat here we have the Leo triplet, captured by Ken Leadham. The Leo triplet is M65, M66, and NGC 3628. Obviously, as the name implies, it's a trio of galaxies in the constellation Leo. And this great, beautiful image here was shared by Ken, or taken by Ken, on the night of March 27th. He says when there was essentially no moon, and he took it with his Celestron Origin Smart Scope, 10 minutes of frames captured without any filter. Beautiful, great image, Ken. Really nice to see. Really cool to see the dark lanes here in the galaxy and the spiral arms and the Messiers down here. Great telescopic sight and great image from Ken. Ken shared a few images that he took earlier in the year. I didn't share any images during our June meeting to keep it short for the sky this summer, so I'm sharing some of the spring shots now. Excuse me. This one is also from Ken. This is of Markarian's chain. And Markarian's chain is, as the name implies, a chain of galaxies, which is in the constellation of Virgo. It forms part of the Virgo cluster, and it contains M84, M86, NGC 4477, 4473, and about a dozen other decently bright galaxies. They're in the Virgo cluster, and Ken captured this great image of the main chunk of the chain and the main heart of the cluster on the night of March 27th again, same night with his Celestron Origin, and 10 minutes of frames captured and stacked. Beautiful shot from Ken, and we'll move on to his next one, which is the Lagoon Nebula, M8, and this is one of the finest Messier objects in the sky. Certainly, honestly, it's my favorite, because it's a great summer object, and you can see it in any scope, any binoculars, and in a big scope, 8 or 10 inches, it actually starts to look almost exactly like this photo here. It's just so big, it's so bright. You can see those dust lanes, you can see the nebulous regions, you can see the detail. It's such a beautiful, beautiful object, and Ken captured it so well right here. He took this on the night of May 8th and 9th with a gibbous moon. He worked with his Celestron and a nebula filter. And again, he says in his comments, that the filter worked quite successfully, and I would agree with that because what a stunning image it is, and that is such a beautiful shot. Another great one from Ken nearby in the sky, M20, the Trifid Nebula. Same night, same telescope, same setup, 10 minutes of frames captured and stacked, and the Trifid Nebula M20, again, great astrophotography target because you have your bright red and then your dimmer, fainter blue areas of nebulosity here, which contrast really nicely with the dust lanes that trisect the nebula here. Moving on, Ken took this fantastic shot as well of the nearby Eagle Nebula in Sagittarius, M16. Fantastic, beautiful image here as well. And the Eagle Nebula is a really big and bright one. Right here in the center, you can see what's called the Pillars of Creation. They were made famous by that Hubble telescope image from several years back. And it's a great astrophotography and a great visual object for these summer months. Beautiful image, Ken. And then the last one that he's shared with me here is my favorite of the bunch, I think. And this is the Sadir region, or Sadir region. I'm actually not sure how to pronounce it. But it is a region of nebulosity, a Mission Nebula, which surrounds Sadir, which is Gamma Cygni, one of the brighter stars in Cygnus. And it's right in the center of Cygnus's cross. And it's a very, very large and diffuse nebulous region with a lot of gas clouds and a lot of dust clouds and a lot of newly formed stars. And what a beautiful image, because just look at that. Look at how crisp and how beautiful the stars are. And look at that deep red and that deep dark black dust intersecting it here. And this one was taken, I believe, let's see, same night again as all the other images, May 8th and 9th. Ken really put on the work that night and he got the results. Same thing with his Celestron Origin, and this was 20 minutes of frames captured and stacked. Thank you, Ken, for the wonderful images. Keep sharing them because I love to see your shots, and each one is just fantastic. Moving on to some shameless self-promotion here. This is a picture by myself, which I took with my Samsung S25 Ultra. I took this a few weeks back on Sunday, August 24th. I set my phone to night mode with a 30-second exposure, put the timer on it, laid it on the roof of my car, and pointed it straight up at Hercules, which you can see right here, the keystone, 1, 2, 3, 4 stars. And as the clouds are rolling in, I captured them here, slowly moving towards zenith, and I got a nice little meteor shooting right across Hercules here. Not too bad, I think, for a cell phone image. Here's another one that I took of what I call the wildfire moon. And I took this one on Sunday, June 15th. And this is the moon, the gibbous moon, rising above a Pioneer gas station. This is the roof of the gas station right here. And this image was not edited at all. That is the colors, the natural colors from the shot that I took on my phone. And the moon was very, very red that night. The sky was very red that night because of all the wildfire smoke. I took this one up north, if I recall correctly. I was coming back from somewhere. I took this around Sudbury, so a little further up north, but I thought that was pretty cool. Again, fully unedited. This is just how it came out. And then here's an image which was taken by my friend John Hadfield. He took this shot last week while we were all up in Labrador, and there was a surge in solar activity that night, that weekend in particularly, which led to aurora being seen through quite a fair chunk of Canada. And I found myself in a bit of a predicament hiking. So I ended up getting separated from my friends. That's a long story. And I did not see the aurora because even though the skies were clear, I fell asleep in a cod fishing hut on the coast of Labrador while my friends were sleeping back outside of town in the woods. And Johnny captured this great shot of the aurora here, and he said this was just a quick one because his phone's not the best, but he took it out and captured it. But he said they were dancing and they were moving, and you could see it almost like that to the naked eye. If anybody else got shots of the aurora that day, I don't know what it was like down in Ontario, but it was certainly nice and active and really bright for a couple nights there, so send them along if you got those shots. Now moving along to Chris Jabon. Chris, I apologize. You sent me a bunch of photos, and I had to cut a few out. I will share them next month at the October meeting, but I put a few of them in here. This one, first one here is the Moon and Venus. This was taken by Chris on May 25th with a 14mm lens on his Nikon DSLR, taken at Pinery Provincial Park over the dunes. And you have the Moon and Venus here rising over those sand dunes, and a great shot in the early morning hours by Chris. Another really nice one here from Chris, which was taken, looks like the same night with the same equipment at Pinery, 14mm lens on his Nikon DSLR. And this is the summer Milky Way over the trees, and that's such a crisp, great shot, and you love just seeing that dusty, dark band going through the Milky Way and the galactic core here, and Chris captured it very beautifully in this image. He sent a couple more images from that night, which I will share next month, but here is one that he took earlier this summer, and let me find the description here. This one is Wolf Rayet 134, which is a nebulous region. And he took this from Milton. Doesn't say the night, but yeah, took this from Milton with the HAA and O3 filter, Optilon quad using a Celestron 6 SE and ASI 2600 MC Pro camera. And that's a really beautiful shot, reminiscent of Ken's there, the nebulous region with the deep reds and the dust intersecting it and the beautiful pinpoint stars and the great colors on the stars. Awesome shot from Chris. And another one here of the Veil Nebula. That is the nebulous region NGC 6990 and 6992 in Cygnus. And this is my challenge object that I gave to all of you guys back in June. And looks like Chris went out and captured it. And this is a fantastic shot because just look at the wispiness in that nebula there. It's a supernova remnant, of course, so it originally blew up somewhere in here, and this is the remnant of it all those tens of millions of years later. All the filament and dust and gas that's left over from that massive stellar explosion. And he took this from Milton as well with a HA and O3 filter using a Nikkor ED lens and an ASI 294 MC Pro camera. Stunning shot from Chris. Moving on to Bob Christmas, and don't worry Chris, I got one more of yours in here, but moving on to our EH editor, Bob Christmas, who always sends in beautiful shots as well. Excuse me. Bob always sends in great shots. This one here is the Needle Galaxy, Caldwell 38 in Coma Berenices, NGC 4565, and this was taken with the ZWO Seastar S50 on April 30th from Barry's Bay. Great shot of the edge-on spiral galaxy here with the dust lane going right through it, and right over here appears to be another galaxy. I can't say I'm overly familiar with the Needle Galaxy, and I didn't do enough research to tell you what it is right here, but nonetheless Bob has captured that, and it looks like there's a couple other faint, far distant galaxies back here that he captured. Another shot here from Bob is of a galactic region in Virgo cluster, another shot from the Virgo cluster, and this is several different galaxies, including NGC 4535, which is on the left, and 4526 on the right. And this is taken April 28th, so a couple nights before, from Barry's Bay with the same setup. And he post-processed the image using GIMP, Darktable, and the Seastar phone app. 30-minute and 40-second total exposures on both shots. So great shots, Bob. Love them as always. Keep sending them in. Keep sending them in because I want to keep seeing what you guys are capturing. And finally, oh, look at that. Never mind. We got another one from Bob here. I put so many in here I completely forgot what we had and what we didn't. Here's the Cocoon Nebula, sent in by Bob Christmas. Again, IC 5146, Caldwell 19, which is in Cygnus. It's a planetary nebula. And this was captured in Burlington on September 1st around 2 a.m. 270 10-second exposures, so 45 minutes total exposure time with a Seastar imager and processed using GIMP. And that's a great image as well. Look at that nice deep red in the nebula there. And one more from Bob on August 16th. And this is, of course, the famous Dumbbell Nebula M27, the biggest and the brightest. Planetary nebula in the Messier list in Vulpecula. This was taken from Burlington on August 16th. 90 10-second exposures, 15 minutes total with a C star again, and fantastic shot. Nice, crisp, clear image, and you can definitely see that dumbbell shape that makes the nebula so famous and gives it its name and makes it one of the best summer objects that we have. And finally, back to Chris, one more. This is our background image for this presentation, and this is the Flying Dragon Nebula. And actually, pardon me now, I'm on my phone figuring out what the Flying Dragon Nebula is. SH2113. It's a small planetary nebula that resembles a supernova remnant located in Cygnus. And this is an object I honestly haven't heard before. I can't say I've seen before, but Chris took this fantastic shot at Starfest. 42 180-second exposures, I believe, is what he says here, with an HAA and O3 filter using a 300mm Nikkor ED lens and his ASI camera. So I had to make that one the background for the slideshow because just look at that. Such a great image and such a nice capture here with Chris, and love the glowing nebulosity in the planetary nebula there. Now we're 16 minutes in. Again, that's why I had to cut out some more images that were sent my way. But as always, send your shots, send your sketches, send your stories to observing@amateurastronomy.org, and I will share them during my monthly presentations. Give me everything you got. I love to see what you're up to and I love to see what you're capturing. So now let me zoom through here with a quick sky this month, which is the purpose of these talks, and we will move over to Stellarium. So I have Stellarium set here for the night of our star party. That is next Saturday, September 20th. This is set from Hamilton, so not from Wyerton, a little further south, but set from Hamilton at 10 p.m. 10 p.m. next Saturday, towards the end of the month. Let me get the constellation lines up here, and let me get deep sky objects going on up here. So, naked eye sky, what can we see towards the end of the month? You know what, actually, I'll put it on October, we'll put it on the 27th, roughly halfway between tonight's meeting and our next meeting. So there we go, September 27th, and this is the night sky from Hamilton. So starting off in the west, where we have our spring constellations pretty well completely setting just after sunset, and just as the sky is still getting fully dark. Up here we have, let's get the labels on there, Hercules and Ophiuchus, which are still high enough to capture any of the summer objects that you want to take a look at in there. Your summer Milky Way with Sagittarius and Scutum and Aquila is sinking lower and lower towards the southwest. You can still get all of those summer objects, see some of the shots, or see some of the things that Ken captured for us there. But your time to do that is getting more and more fleeting as each day goes by. By the middle of October, all of this will be gone, and you won't be able to see much of it until early in the morning next spring. So anything you want to try and find from the summer that you didn't, now is your chance, because those constellations and those objects are setting for the winter. Moving up towards zenith, however, the later summer constellations Cygnus and Delphinus, Sagitta, Vulpecula, they're all still up there towards the zenith, but as the night goes on and as the month goes on, of course they set earlier and earlier and earlier, and that summer Milky Way is going to be disappearing soon, followed behind it by the Milky Way-less? The Milky Way-less? No Milky Way in the fall, until the other side comes out during the winter. But you still have a chance to see those nebulous regions in Cygnus and still have a good month or so to get any of the objects that you want to see over in this area of the sky. Excuse me, moving down towards the northeast and the east, the objects that are rising. We have our fall constellations by 10 p.m., which are risen above the horizon. And our later fall constellations and our early winter constellations slowly peeking up down here right at the horizon. You have Perseus, you have Cassiopeia well placed. Pegasus is nice and high in the sky. Pisces is getting up there as well. Aquarius is over to the south and the southeast. Capricorn is too. Andromeda is becoming well placed. The Triangulum Galaxy, M33 over here. And all of these constellations and objects are going to start rising higher and higher as the month goes on. And as the evening goes on, of course, as the evening goes on, so too do the winter constellations rise until around 3 a.m. Later on in the night or very early in the morning, that's when it's the time of year where the famous winter objects and the famous winter constellations start coming up above. So September is the time to pretty well see it all. And we will move, before I get into that, we'll take a look at our planets for September, and I will run through them very quick. I cover them all in the EH, but let's go through them here for you right now. Excuse me. So we will start off with Mercury. This month is really no good. Like I said, it's only fleetingly visible for a couple days towards the end of the month, and then only a couple degrees above the horizon. So Mercury is a no-go for September. And the same is true of Mars. Only for a couple days near Spica you're going to see it. So Mercury and Mars this month are no-goes for planetary observing. That being said, since we're at 3 a.m. right now, let's go to Venus. Here we have the 28th, 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., and there we have Venus. And Venus all month long is a very, very, very nice early morning object. If we backtrack it a bit towards the night of our meeting, you can see here as the sun is just about to come up at 6 a.m., Venus is slightly higher. But from now until the middle of October, you will see Venus every morning there in the east shining nice and bright. Magnitude minus 3.92. I have a list of all of the planetary conjunctions in my EH article, but we skip past the one right here, which is the big one, and that is the Friday night of our star party, next Friday night on the 19th. And here is an exceptionally close pass of the Moon and Venus and Regulus there in Leo. This is 6 a.m. on the dot. Rises up around 4:30, so anywhere from 4:30 until the sun comes up, you can see this. They are within like a tenth of a degree with each other right here. This is maybe like a full degree apart, if even between the three of them. So that is going to make a fantastic, fantastic conjunction for naked eye, for binoculars, for telescope, and for astrophotography. So mark that one down in your calendars. Let's zip along here really quickly. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter. There's Jupiter nice and high in the sky, and Jupiter is in Gemini all month long. Very prominent month for the king of planets as well. You can see it during the latter half of the night all month long. Placed nice and prominently high in the sky with its Galilean moons, of course, doing their dance around the planet. Saturn, the ringed planet. This is the month for observing Saturn. It comes to opposition on the 21st. Opposition meaning it is directly opposite the sun in the sky. So as the sun sets, Saturn rises. As the sun rises, Saturn sets. All night long you'll be able to see it. There's 6 a.m. Still hasn't set yet on the 19th. Move back towards a more reasonable hour. 11 p.m. right there in the southeast. And all night long we have Saturn. Visible for your viewing pleasure. Magnitude 0.59. Pretty darn bright. It is almost edge-on rings this month, and there is its multitude of moons that dance around it all night long, each night of the month. So it's a great month for Venus, great month for Jupiter, and great month for Saturn. Uranus and Neptune are also up there, Neptune close by to Saturn, so plenty to see in terms of planetary observing this month. Again, mark your calendars for the 19th, because that is going to be one heck of a conjunction that you won't want to miss. Now I will zoom through quickly again. I went long this month. I don't want to keep you too long for some deep sky objects. In my article, I gave you a list of 5 challenge objects to try and see at the dark star party for those who are going up there to Andromeda Meadow. And for those who aren't and still want to go out there and challenge themselves, you can find that in the article. But let's go again, halfway between now and the next meeting, and 11 p.m. Now it is fully dark, and here is the night sky, and we'll take a quick look over here in one of the lesser studied, lesser observed, lesser viewed regions of the sky. That is your fall sky. And again, kind of underwhelming compared to what we have in winter and compared to what we have in summer. But nonetheless, this area of the night sky with Cetus, Sculptor, Piscis Austrinus, Aquarius, and Pisces. The water constellations, obviously, southern fish, the whale, the water bearer. Still has quite a few different objects that you can see. This is the time of year to see them. And we'll put our deep sky objects back on here. Where are we? Deep sky objects. And so you can see over here in Capricornus, and there are some more well-known objects and some lesser-known objects. But we have M30, which is a very, very nice globular right here at magnitude 6.9. In Capricornus, we have M2, 6.6. Nice and bright globular there in Aquarius. A little further up in Pegasus, M15, which, of course, the Pegasus cluster. Yet another globular. 3 bright, easy to find, and very impressive Messier globulars in a line there in the fall sky. Moving down over to Sculptor. This is a bit of a difficult object to find, but another globular cluster you can take a look at here is NGC 288 or MEL3. It's magnitude 8.1 or 8.13. And these objects here, here's what I'm getting to next. The Sculptor Galaxy 253 are fairly bright comparatively, magnitude 8 and 8.13, but because they never rise very high above our horizon here from Hamilton, right now the altitude is 142, 12 degrees above the horizon, and that is about as high as it gets. So they are tough objects, all of these to pick out here. Bond's Galaxy 7793, the String of Pearls NGC 55, which is a galaxy down here, magnitude 7.87. Difficult object for northern observers, but definitely a challenge. You might not see all that much detail in them, but just seeing them in themselves is quite the accomplishment as well. So if you're looking for something to challenge yourself with, try picking these out in that murky area of the sky right down by the horizon towards the end of this month. A little bit further up in Cetus, we have the Skull Nebula, which is NGC 246. This is not so much a visual object, but for our astrophotographers, magnitude 10.9. Small area, very compact nebula, but a very cool planetary nebula. You can get some really cool shots of it that bring out the shape of its namesake, a skull, of course. And over here in Pisces, and towards the head of the whale in Cetus are 2 Messier galaxies, M74, right up here, which is one of the harder ones to find during your Messier marathon, if you can find it at all during the spring. But during the fall, it's prominently placed, the Phantom Galaxy, face-on spiral galaxy, magnitude 9.4. If you've got big aperture and a bright scope, this is a fantastic object to look for because you can pick out those spiral arms in the galaxy and you can actually see something that looks sort of like this photo right here through a nice big scope. I've seen it before. It's not easy because it is such a large area with low surface brightness, but go out there, especially at Andromeda Meadow, try and get this one because it's a really cool object to see. And then down at Cetus, M77, Cetus A, which is another face-on spiral galaxy. Actually brighter than M74, but lower surface brightness and lower intensity in its spiral arms. Another object to try and find. And right above it, More of an astrophoto object, but I've seen it as well. NGC 10055, which compared to the two face-on galaxies, here we have an edge-on galaxy. And there, of course, are plenty of other galaxies that you can see out here. I'll be honest, never heard of this one before. Darth Vader's Starfighter. NGC 936. I can see why, it kind of looks like it. So there's a challenge object for the month. On top of what I put in my article, someone go out there and find Darth Vader's Starfighter for me. I think I'm going to try and find that one whenever I get clear skies. Magnitude 10.81, probably not going to be easy to find. What's its altitude right now? 16 degrees, not very high above the horizon, but you know what? There you go, on the fly. So, for September, early October, focus in on this area of the sky towards your south and southeast. Lesser known objects, lesser known constellations, but plenty to see. And that is all. Half an hour. Sorry I went a little long, but there's your September sky this month. And I hope you all have a great time at Andromeda Meadow next week. And I hope to see you all, hopefully, at our public event, which will be, I believe, Bayfront Park. Don't hold me to that. Sue will be able to tell you where. October 4th, Saturday. And if not, I will definitely be there for our annual general meeting next month. Remember, that is the weekend after Thanksgiving. And I will be back then with another Sky This Month presentation. So happy observing and clear skies. Thank you, thank you.